Hello and welcome to my very first What I Eat in a Week. This is actually a working week for me. I typically work from home because COVID sent me there, and my working practices have meant that we work from home now in my line of work, and I just used to eat a whole bunch of dirty food. My kitchen cupboards are right nearby. I felt cruddy all the time, so this video is an attempt on my part to make better choices and share with you how easily I could incorporate them into my working day. So none of my dishes are complex or complicated, but they make best use of all the stuff that I have in my pantry and my fridge. And enjoy the video. I'll try and whiz my way through what I eat in a week when I work from home. Obviously, I start with breakfast, and this Monday it was porridge. It's my favourite way to start the week, and I literally combined some frozen berries. I had some blueberries in the freezer with some porridge oats and water. Bring that to a nice little boil and let it simmer away and get creamy. And then I chopped up a banana and sprinkled some peanut butter powder into a bowl. It's meant to have about 80% less fat, something like that. Mix that with some water to try and simulate peanut butter. And poured my porridge into the bowl, added my banana and my peanut butter liquid thing, which was okay. I'm not convinced I prefer it over the real thing, and I do prefer crunchy peanut butter, so yeah, I probably won't have that again. But I sprinkled on my flaxseed and nut mix crumble that I have, along with some honey, and got cracking with my day. As you can see, I then ate out for lunch because I had a dentist appointment in town and just got a veggie sandwich and a almond matcha, I think it was. On my way back home, I was able to stop by the veggie store in town. Okay, I cannot believe this whole bag from the veg store in town was £1. £1. You can't tell me that is not a Billy bargain. We've got a broccoli, a cauliflower, beautiful cabbage, look at that, and all of these carrots for £1. And I guess the secret is to go when they're closing, right? So as I walked past in town, I just said, "What time are you closing?" She said 4:30. So I stopped by at like 4:20, and there's all these bags of stuff bagged up, going cheap. £1. Anyway, so I thought I would put all of those lovely veggies to good use, and I made a favourite of my husband's actually. It's our veggie soup, and it's the easiest thing I think I've got in my repertoire. I literally chop up a whole bunch of veggies and shove them in a pot with some water and some vegetable stock, a whole bunch of Maldon sea salt and black pepper, and that is it, guys. There's no rocket science, there's no technical cooking. It is literally a video clip of me chopping up a whole bunch of veggies and chucking them, oh sorry about that, let me just move that out of the way, chopping up a whole bunch of veggies and popping them in the pan, and we call it poop soup for a reason. I think the high fibre content there just gets things moving, so sorry if that's a little bit TMI. But once you've got it all in the pot, take time for a little cup of tea and bring it to a boil. After a very quick workout, while that was boiling away, you literally take off the lid and serve up. It is quite filling, of course. There's loads of liquids in there. It's been absorbed by all the veggies. And, you know, I'm not great at the camera skills, but that definitely tasted way better than it looked. So the next morning, even though it was cold out, I fancied a smoothie bowl. It's literally a sort of thicker version of the sort of smoothie you would suck up through a straw. So I added some frozen fruits. I had a banana, some blueberries, strawberries, some oats, and added some water to that mixture, and gave it a waz in the NutriBullet. Didn't have enough water, so added a little bit more, gave it a little shake, and popped it back on for a little quick blend. I think I added some acai powder, I think that's how you pronounce it, and I probably added a little bit too much water because it got a little bit too runny, but nonetheless it was absolutely delicious. I added some strawberries I picked up from the market the night before, and as always some blueberries, they are by far my favourite fruit, and some more of my seed and nut mix, and then some extra chia seeds just for added vitamins, and rather than head straight to work, as I normally do, I sat on the sofa and enjoyed my breakfast with a little bit of peace and tranquility. So a few meetings later, I was getting a little bit peckish, so I had some ideas in mind for my lunch. It's literally leftover veggies stir-fried in my pan. So I had a lonely courgette that needed something doing to it. I tend to put red onion and garlic in pretty much most of the things that I cook, as you'll see. Turned on the pan and got that going with a little, whoopsie daisy, let me just pop that back in the pan. You didn't see that, 5-second rule. So I popped in a little bit of coconut oil just to get things moving, get the juices flowing, as well as some gluten-free soy sauce, added some sesame oil and some chili flakes actually, and some sesame seeds. I also had some leftover shredded red cabbage and just a couple of little bits of shredded carrot that I added to the mix, as well as some leftover brown rice that I can't even remember what it was from a couple of days previous, but regardless, I added 3 big spoonfuls of leftover brown rice, gave that a good old mix in the pan and let all the juices combine, and then topped that, once it worked its magic and all the flavours were in, topped that on top of a little bit of spinach, fresh spinach, and some sauerkraut, because you need to get your fermented foods into your body, guys. It's really good for you. Half a sliced avocado, and then sriracha mayo, which I'm pretty sure is the one condiment I cannot live without. And voila, lunch is ready. And because there's no rest for the wicked, I had to snuggle up in my cozy yellow blankie and get back to work, because got to pay the bills, everybody. And so there's a shot of me pretending to work while I'm filming, but the reality is I was just sat there pretending to work while I was filming. Anyway, enough of that. And there we go. So a little bit later on, I was feeling peckish, and sometimes just to curb my hunger, I make myself a nice matcha. This one I added water to, but typically I would heat up some oat milk. I cannot begin to tell you how much I love an oat milk matcha, and these flavor drops from, I think it's My Protein, really take the edge off the earthiness. If you've got a sweet tooth but don't want to add heaps of sugar to your food or drinks, I highly recommend those flavor drops. And I did top up with a date as well. For tea, I made one of our family favourites. We try and avoid meat where possible. As you can see, there's not a lot of meat at all in this what I eat in a week video. I tend to replace where I would have mincemeat, I would typically use some lentils and or a handful of corn mince straight from the freezer. So as I mentioned earlier, I start most of my dishes with red onion and garlic. This evening was no exception. Got that going with some coconut oil and added some chopped up carrots and then a whole bunch of oregano or oregano, depending on where you are in the world. I also added some onion salt, and I'm pretty sure I added some other spices, probably just some bog standard Italian mixed herbs, and then a tin of lentils, which I drained of course before adding to the pan, and I let those flavours mix in. I had about a third of a packet of frozen corn mince left over in the freezer, which I added to the crock pot as well, all on a medium heat, and gave that a really good stir. I added a chopped can of tomatoes, mixed that all in real nice, and then a mega squeeze of tomato paste and gave that a really good mix in as well. If you find that your mixture's a little bit too thick, by all means add a bit of water to your tomato can and pour it in and blend it in until you're happy that the mixture's a little bit looser. Then I did that fancy twirly thing with some spaghetti pasta into a pot of boiling water with salt, and I tend to put a bit of olive oil in there as well. Keep everything stirred and loose as you go along, and then the pièce de résistance. At some point, about 10 minutes before serving, add a whole bunch of balsamic glaze to your bolognese mixture. This has got to be the pièce de résistance. You can't make this dish without adding the balsamic. If you don't have any balsamic, put a big heaped teaspoon of sugar in there just to sweeten it up. I like to add a knob full of butter. This was plant-based butter in this instance to my spaghetti. Just makes it a little bit more slippery, you know. I think it helps with the starchiness of it. And voila, dinner's ready, guys. It is one of our family favourites. And again, it doesn't, I'm looking at this now, it doesn't look that appetizing, but oh my God, I went back for seconds. Breakfast on day 3, I didn't have a lot of time, where I probably really wanted porridge oats. I didn't have time, I was running late for meetings. So my go-to when I'm in a rush is some soy yogurt. I add a couple more drops of those vanilla flavor drops and give it a good mix up, and it really sweetens the yogurt without adding the calories and the sugar. I added a couple of shakes of granola. I'd ran out of my Deliciously Ella, which I'm really gutted about, but I had some really good granola in the cupboard, so I used that up, and a handful of blueberries and a squirt of yogurt later, and of course my seeded nut mix, and I was good to go. All I needed was my yellow blankie and a bit of Wi-Fi, and there I am, pretending to work again just for a few more moments so I can get the show in. And I needed some cuddles. How lucky am I to have these two guys keep me company during the day. They snuggle up like this beside me all day long, and they really, really make me happy. Slightly distracting, but there we go. For lunch, I fancied some veggie gyozas and a little bit more stir fry. It's the kind of flavours I gravitate towards. So I had these Itsu veggie gyozas in the freezer. You can cook them a multitude of ways. You can steam them. I think you can even microwave them, but I chose to pan fry them in some coconut oil. Just need to make sure you turn them over regularly. Then I made a homemade dip with some soy, some honey, some sesame, some chilies, and some freshly chopped garlic. There's me doing my fancy flipping with my gyoza, and then I used up the rest of that brown rice and shredded cabbage with a little bit of soy, a little bit of onion, salt, and cracked in an egg. Gave that a little stir and then blended everything in to make a little egg fried rice type thing. A couple of handfuls of spinach, let that steam while I chop myself up an avocado, half of one to be precise, and I think it was the other half from the one the day before, and then gave the stir fry another quick stir, and then added that to my bowl, along with, of course, my sriracha mayo and that half an avocado. And that was, gotta say, really yummy. I may have slightly overcooked the gyozas, but they were still good. I'm not gonna lie, I ate every single one of them. Yum. In fact, as I'm doing this voiceover, it's making me want them again, but I think I've run out in the freezer, so I'm gonna have to nip to the shops and go and get some, I think, for tea tonight. It was so good. And if you like the shot of my kitties a little minute ago, here they are again, looking at the big wide world. They're not allowed out yet. They, at the point of doing this voiceover, they've just had their second jabs, and it'll be another couple of months, I think, before I'm comfortable with them going outside and exploring the world. How gorgeous are they? For dinner, I can't really call this, a meal. It was just chips and vegan chili con carne that I had. I took my son out for dinner before he had football practice, and because this is what I eat in a week. That is what I ate, but I can't tell you how it was made, but I can tell you it was amazing, and I couldn't finish it all. I was absolutely stuffed. But the next morning, because I felt so wrong for eating all that grease last night, I fancied something nice and green and healthy to get me through the morning. So a green smoothie was on the cards, and I had some frozen spinach, which is a really good way of packing in all that goodness in the frozen form. So I blended up a couple of spoonfuls of oats, a banana, some blueberries, the frozen spinach, some strawberries, a load of nuts and seed mix, and a good glug of Alpro oat milk, which is one of my favorites. Gave that a really good blend and contemplated life while I did. And although it looks a bit like muddy water, I have to say it was so tasty and fruity and refreshing, and an amazing way to start the day. Because I was on a roll, I fancied to staying with the green theme today, and the night before I had picked up some I guess California green roll type things from Waitrose. They were on their sort of must eat these today counter on my way home late last night, and I reckon they'd still be good the following day for lunch. So I had those just with some soy. I didn't have a lot of time between meetings to make myself a proper lunch, so I was pleased I had those. I was a little bit peckish in the afternoon, so rice crackers with some peanut butter and some chopped up bananas and honey. It's a really amazing way for me anyway to stay full throughout the day, keep me going and focused, and get a nice mixture of what have we got there, some protein, some potassium, etc. Breakfast the following morning, I had a bit of time that morning to make myself some porridge. I was really pleased because it was freezing cold outside, hence I've got a massive dressing gown type thing on. So I cooked up my porridge, chopped up my banana, because the two literally are synonymous for me, and then to my porridge I added some cacao powder. It's not bad, it's a really nice one, but don't rely on that on its own to give you the sweetness. It just adds that sort of chocolatey flavour but without the sweetness, so I added a few more of my flavour drops to that mixture and gave it a really good stir, and then popped that in my bowl with my banana. There we go. And my seeds, some peanut butter, the crunchy kind, not the liquid kind made from powder, some more blueberries, and yes, some seeds, but I know I already said that. There we go. That was so good and tasty, and that set me up for the rest of the morning. Thank you for watching to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed what I ate in a working week. I'm really sorry that I didn't fit in all 15 meals that I would typically eat, so 3 meals a day for 5 working days. I'm still getting used to filming myself every time I go to eat something or cook something, so I promise to get better at that. If you like the video, please do like it. You know what to do. Press that little button down at the bottom, and if you feel so compelled, please do subscribe so you can stay tuned to any additional content that I post. And until then, on behalf of myself and Stitch, say hi Stitch, say hi to YouTube. We hope you have a beautiful day and a lovely weekend.